As I opened the door, I was greeted with a very familiar face, Ned, smiling like a jackass, which tended to be the look he got whenever we were talking about anything involving my superhero work. There at the door, dressed in his usual attire, some rock and roll Slays t-shirt, his hat, his favorite one actually, from his favorite rock band, the Savage-Axis. It was actually a collector's edition that Ned paid a pretty penny for, and some ragged-looking blue jeans, which was just Ned's style. Other than that, he had a series of notebooks clutched in his arms, which he had started to carry around with him. "Man, you are gonna love what I have for you," Ned said, smiling as he walked into the apartment. "Okay, Ned, I know you're probably just as excited about this as I've been, and I'm the one who's going to be wearing the armor. So, show me what you got, man," I said, walking over to my sofa and taking a seat down, a towel wrapped around my neck, trying to wipe away the sweat. "Dude, you are drenched. Have you been working out?" "Yeah, Ned," I replied, very sarcastically. "What, you didn't think I got all those weights for decoration, did you? Remember, all these symbiotes have amplified strength just like me. The only way to actually be stronger than them is to actually work out. So that's what I'm doing. And I've been doing it for about 3 hours, so I'm slayed. What I need is about 10 burgers. Big ones with bacon and cheese. Ugh, I'm drooling just thinking about it. Okay, you're gonna need to start talking armor to me before I get caught up on food," I said, giving a beckoning wave to Ned to start up. "Actually, those burgers sound good, man," Ned replied. "But, yeah, more important things." "Okay, this is what I got," Ned said, laying one of the notebooks down in front of me and turning to nearly the last page. "The end-all be-all for your armor, man." As I looked into the book, I was actually surprised at the level of detail. Descriptions for everything, how it worked, why it was there, how it was beneficial to me. Okay, man, this is a doozy. So strap yourself in, cause you got some heavy armor making to do. And by heavy, I mean the amount of detail you're gonna have to put into this. The armor itself is actually fairly light. To be honest, I'm relying more on the strength of your liquid steel than the actual weight of steel that you put into it. This armor is made to be as flexible and fast as possible, while providing you serious defensive capabilities all around. If it were made out of any normal material, it would still be functional. But with that liquid steel you have, this is going to be damn near unbreakable, even for as light as it is. Now, here's the problem with it. It's way, way too complicated. It makes the fursuit armor we came up with for you look like nothing at all. From what I could tell from your ability to create the armor, and how fast that you're able to make complex or intricate things, being able to make this on the fly is an absolute no-go. There's no way you're going to be able to create this every time something pops up and you need to get there in a hurry. That's the trade-off, the backfall to the complexity of the armor. But it's an easy enough fix. Because of the design of the armor, I've made it so that you can basically carry it around with you, without much of a hassle. Essentially, think of the comic books, where the hero has to carry the suit in a bag or wear it under their regular clothing. That's more or less the situation that you're gonna be left dealing with, but it's totally doable. It might be a little heavy for a normal guy, but with super strength, I doubt you're gonna have trouble packing it around. And you should be able to either easily wear it under your clothes, or pack it around in some sort of bag or suitcase, whatever you can fit it into. So, let's break it down. This comes in layers. Essentially, the internal layer, the core of the armor, so to speak, is gonna have to be made from liquid steel that you thread into those fibers. Basically, you're gonna have to make an assload of string, dude. Then I'll take that string and sew it together into what amounts to a suit. Very light, very thin, very flexible. There are a few spots where you'll have to include some of the liquid steel in its gel form and attach them in that way. That way you don't have to deal with seams and things like that. The next layer of the armor is basically the gel layer. Basically, we'll coordinate large sections of liquid steel in the gel form, bonding them to the exterior of the fibers, protecting your most vital areas from impact force and trauma, based on the new information that you gave me about the liquid steel in its different forms. I came up with a pattern that allows it to spread as much as possible, as much of the impact force as it can, by connecting these patched levels in different sections with strips of the liquid steel in its gel form. You're not relying on one small segment to absorb all the force, because the liquid steel spreads that force through connection, and all the different padded sections are connected. So, if you get hit anywhere, the force can spread throughout all the rest of the liquid gel, Ned said, still pointing into the book to the different sections that he had drawn. Okay, so far this is looking good, Ned. I like it, but what's going on beyond that? Okay, now here is where the really complex stuff starts to come in. This is where you're going to be working with actual liquid steel in the steel form. And dude, it is awesome, but very complicated too. Essentially, through all the research that I've found out and looked into, the exterior layer of your armor is going to be a combination of 3 elements, maybe 4, depending on how you look at it. I found out that steel, just as a flat substance, like an Old English style armor, isn't actually the most effective when it comes to deflecting and absorbing force. It's just simply the easiest to do. Making a solid steel object is simply easier than making a more complex pattern type of armor that will effectively protect you more. And for that, I've gone with something you're gonna love. Prime candidate is scale mail. You've heard of it, right? From video games and stories. But you probably don't know what it is, right? Ned asked. Yeah, you're right on that, Ned. I really don't know. I mean, it's a high-level armor in video games, but what about in reality? I was waiting for you to ask that, man, Ned said joyously, grinning from ear to ear as if he couldn't wait to explain it. Okay, scale mail is a much more complex system of armor than just a regular armor plate, and is much more effective. Essentially, scale mail is countless tiny pieces of armor that all overlap one another. This overlapping of tiny steel plates allows the armor to actually flex a little bit more than a solid steel plate, and this in turn allows it to absorb more damage without actually breaking like regular armor would, basically increasing the threshold vastly. But I've actually gone a step beyond regular scale mail. Because of the effects of the liquid gel and how that works, I found a way to layer the two together. Basically, each individual piece of scale mail is going to have a very fine layer of the liquid gel coating one side of it. All of these individual scales, two-sided, one with the gel coat and the other the solid steel, overlapping one another, will effectively combine both the strengths of the gel and the strengths of the liquid steel in order to generate a defensive force more powerful than either one could achieve by itself. And I'm talking drastic improvement, man. And the weight is even lighter. You don't have to make it as thick as you do with regular armor. You can wear less and get more.